Oh, hi. Hi, everybody. Good to see you here on another Wednesday night, all ready for another wonderful night of magic and mystery. Hello to everybody out there in our gallery. Hi to everyone in Facebook land, and hopefully on Twitch as well tonight, where Stuart is back. Hey, Stuart is back. Fantastic. So enough of my wittering on. Let's get on with tonight's fantastic show and our first performer of the evening, Mr. Alan Fisher.
There we are. Thank you so much, Kevin. Thank you. Thank you. It is a pleasure to be here on the show this evening and to kick things off. To do so, I will be needing a volunteer. So, Stuart, if you can just randomly pick someone from our crowd to pop up. If we've got any non-magicians, that's great. But just throw someone up here. We're going to try a little bit of a zodiac kind of astrology sort of experiment. We'll explore a couple of different things here as we come up. Oh, hello, my dear Jojo. How are you?
Hi, I have a new person, Mark, here for you.
Hi, Mark. Thank you for joining us. Mark, since you're brand new, I'm actually going to have you be my volunteer for this evening, if that's all right.
That's fine.
Excellent, excellent. Now, as I said, we're going to do a little bit of zodiac kind of astrology. We'll use both the months, which is how you kind of deal with it in Western culture. Now, Eastern culture, the Chinese zodiac is based on the year, and we'll get to that in a minute. And you can either lie or tell the truth about the year you were born and the month you were born. And I want you to, be uncomfortable about saying, I'm not that old. You can lie or tell the truth. It's going to be up to you. But since this is a magic trick in a magic show, we have to play pick a card, union rules. I know I don't like them either, but you go against the union, you wind up next to Jimmy Hoffa as an off-ramp of the New Jersey Turnpike. We don't want to do that. So we're going to play pick a card, but I want to make this as fair as we can. So let's just imagine, little imaginary, we have all the red cards on one side, all the black cards on the other. Now, which do you want us to use? The reds or the blacks?
Black.
We use the blacks, get rid of the reds. All right, so we have the black cards. We take those, and we have clubs, and we have spades. Which do you want us to use, the clubs or the spades?
Spades.
The spades. So the clubs have gone bye-bye, the diamonds have gone bye-bye, the hearts have gone bye-bye. All we've left with now are the spades. Now, within those cards, you can break them up some more to where you have the numbers 2 through 10, or what they call the face cards, Jack, Queen, King, and Ace. Which do you want us to use? Do you want us to use the numbers or the faces?
Let's use the numbers.
Faces go bye-bye. We're down to numbers, so that means your choice is somewhere between 2 and 10. What's it going to be?
8.
8. Okay, go with 8. Then I'm going to get out my cards here, and I am going to find the 8 of spades so that I can have a marker for the card that you selected, the 8 of spades. I'll put all the other ones away. We don't need it. We're just going to remember the 8 of spades for now. Now, I said we're going to use the zodiac year and month. So we'll start with the year. Now, again, my friend, you can lie or tell the truth. It's going to be up to you. What year were you born?
1962.
62. All right. Now, in the Chinese astrology, each year is a different animal. So I got a cheat sheet. Here we go. 62. Ooh, that's the year of the tiger. Ooh. Now, if this is the truth, this would be you. You are a sensitive, emotional, and capable of great love. Oh. However, Jojo likes that. Okay. However, you have a tendency to get carried away and be stubborn about what you think is right.
So me.
You are often seen as a hothead or a rebel. Ooh. Your sign shows that you would be an excellent matador or a commentator on Fox News. That's what it says. I didn't print it. Oh, okay. So that's the Chinese folks. Western culture, we go by month. So, what month were you born? Again, lie or tell the truth. What month?
March.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. March. You know, I got a number of friends that were born in March. I got a great magic convention I go to every month. March is a very happy month. Well, all right, let's turn this over. We've got all different colored squares in the back. We're going to count our way down to March and see what color it connects to. January, February, oh, March, it's green. Obviously, had you picked a different month, and again, I don't know if you lied or told the truth, but it would have been a different color. But green is going to be your month's color. So we'll remember green, and I've got Chinese zodiac. I'm using Chinese takeout containers. One for each color that was on the chart. Green is going to be yours, but we'll open the others first because each one bears something about the color had it been the one you picked, like yellow. So let's take a look. What do we have in yellow? We have a butter container. My favorite flavoring to add to anything is butter. I love butter. Purple. What do we have in purple? We have, courtesy of my daughter, she loaned me a ton of little plastic purple kitty cats because kitty cats are her favorite. So we have purple kitty cats, blue. I had a little problem with the microphones. I had to turn off my fan because it was too noisy in here. So I'm really getting hot. And I'm very glad for blue because blue has in it a nice blue personal fan that I can hang around my neck and be nice and... Ooh, that does feel good. Ooh, okay. I like blue. Red. What do we have in red? Oh, it's a balloon. A balloon. A reminder of when I was much younger. I spent a summer in Idlewild Park. That's an amusement park in Ligonier, Pennsylvania, and I was Captain Idlewild. I was the park character flying around in a hot air balloon. Really, I'll show you pictures someday. Let me get rid of that. But green. Now, this turned out to be your color. So let us see what green has. There's a playing card in the green one. Now, you picked this. We went through all the possible permeations. You wound up with that. Let's see if, in fact, we have a matching prediction from your choice at the beginning of the show.
Hey!
I'm impressed.
That, my friend, is how you do a little zodiac magic to kick off our show tonight. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Jojo, thank you so much for bringing your friend to join us. It was a pleasure.
Thank
And
you.
Kevin,
was good.
I'll throw it back to you in the UK.
So we're back in the UK, as I said, and as Alan so kindly said, thank you, Alan, for pinching all my lines. Never mind. We're going back over the pond, back to the USA, back to Texas this time, and to our good friend Robina in the land of milk and honey, silken ribbons, and Alan, did you nick my script? Yeah. The lovely Robina. Come in, Robin. Wow, lovely. Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Robina, from the land of silk and flowers. And I've found my script, so I can now read it properly. Oh, there we go. Oh, there we go. Find out where we are. Okay, moving on back to the UK and up north-ish to our good friend Roy Stone. Come in, me duck.
All right, me ducks. Well, tonight I'm going to tell you a story again. But before I do, I don't know, an interesting fact, I don't know if a lot of you people are aware of this. One of the greatest murderers, the greatest killers of all time, was actually Vlad the Impaler. He killed 80,000 people, 20,000 of which he impaled on a spike. Not unlike this one. But this one's a little bit different. I'm told that this one is the spike tower that killed Count Dracula. So I'd like to tell you a story tonight about Count Dracula. What we're going to use, 1, 2, 3 blank cards. We're going to come back to those in a minute. As I said, we're going to tell you the story about Count Dracula. And there's Count Dracula. What happened was the spike was driven into Count Dracula's heart, absorbed his blood, this very spike, as you can see, and trapped him forever. So what we're going to do, we're going to put Count Dracula there, trapped on the spike. And of course, Count Dracula was gone. But from beyond the grave, Count Dracula, using his powers, was able to call on 3 of his friends. In fact, 3. 1, 2, now 3 of his vampire friends. They came along, flew around the spike, trying to free Count Dracula from the crystal tower, but they went too close. And they too were spiked and gone forever. You see, Count Dracula's 3 friends just couldn't help him, and they too were banished. And so some say that Count Dracula was trapped within the crystal spike. Some say that he wasn't, he escaped. But who did this deed? Who trapped Count Dracula in the crystal spike? Of course, that was none other than Professor Van Helsing, vampire hunter. And if you ever have a vampire, you can call him on Transylvania 65000. That's Transylvania 65000. Of course, that's only in case you ever see any vampires appearing again. So don't forget that number. Transylvania 65000. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Roy. And back down south here. I'm going to move back up northish and from my position up north and left a bit into a bit of ocean. And in the middle of that is the Isle of Man. And Roy's piece is an absolute perfect mix to go straight into the fantastic Michael Kelly.
Thank you, Kevin. Up north and left a bit. Best directions I ever heard, yeah. Can't go wrong with those. Well, I'd like to play a little murder mystery game with you tonight. Nothing too gruesome. Leon will already have noticed I don't have a box here, so we're not going to get messy tonight. In fact, when I say a game, I mean that. It's a game that you're probably all familiar with. Here in Britain, we call it Cluedo, and in the US, I think you just call it Clue. And all the players, they make their way around the board, and they have cards which show suspects, murder weapons, and locations in the house. And by a process of elimination and deduction, you work out which cards are missing so you can deduce who the murderer is by ticking boxes on a little tick sheet. So the game's usually played using your deductive powers, but tonight I want to play it differently, using purely intuition. So who'd like to play Cluedo or Clue with me? A volunteer, please.
I see Jill's hand up. Yes, it's
Hello,
Jill.
Jill. You'll have played Cluedo, I'm sure.
Oh, yes, I think so, in the dim and distant past.
Yeah, I think it was probably the 1980s when I played it last. But I like this version because it's much more personal. You have to rely on your own intuition. You see, if you remember, usually you have some cards yourself at the beginning, so you know that that wasn't the murderer and that wasn't the murder weapon and that wasn't the place the crime was carried out. And you question other players as you go around to see what cards they've got. And gradually, by a process of elimination, you work out who it must have been, what weapon they must have used, and where they committed the crime. And this envelope contains the solution. There's always that black envelope in a Cluedo game that contains the solution to the puzzle. But the thing is, let's imagine 3 people are playing Cluedo. And each of those players has their own cards. And those cards can't be the one responsible. But there are 4 suspects. So we have suspect 1, suspect 2, suspect 3, and suspect 4. So I'll just lay those out. So the question is, Jill, without having any of those clues, you've just got to guess. Rely on your instincts. Who do you think did it? Suspect 1, 2, 3, or 4?
Oh, it was definitely 4.
Definitely 4.
Oh,
So
yes.
we'll put suspect 4 over by the solution, and we'll put the other 3 back here for now. And let's have a look at the weapons. What was the murder weapon? Again, we have 4. They're all numbered there. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So just using your intuition, which was the murder weapon?
2.
Number 2. We'll put
Yes.
weapon number 2 over with suspect number 4. And the others can go back here for a moment. And then where was the crime committed? 4 locations. 1, 2, 3, and 4.
The first one, number 1.
First one.
Yes, definitely.
Those are the 3 that you think were responsible. So let's see who we can count out. So suspect number 1. Let's see who we have in there. Well, you're saying it wasn't Mrs. Peacock.
Oh, thank goodness for that.
And you're saying it wasn't Mr. Green. That used to be Reverend Green when I played. They must have changed it, but it wasn't Mr. Green. And you're saying it wasn't suspect 3. And that's Professor Plum.
Oh,
So there you think all of those were innocent.
I do.
Then let's see what the weapons we've discounted. You're saying it wasn't weapon 1. Weapon 1 is the candlestick.
Well, that would have been the Reverend Green, wouldn't it, using a candle?
Wow. That was the traditional one, wasn't it? Weapon 3. Let's see what was in here. So it wasn't the rope.
Oh,
And weapon 4. It wasn't the poison. So we've discounted those. Locations. You chose location 1, so it wasn't location 2. Let's see what's in here. It's not the lounge. Wasn't location 3. So it's not the games room. And it's not location 4. So it's not the bathroom.
oh, that would have been easier to clean up, wouldn't it?
It would, it would. So let's see where you think the murder was carried out. You said it was location 1. So let's see what we have for location 1. Location 1 is the kitchen. So you're saying the crime was committed in the kitchen. And you're saying it was carried out with weapon 2. And weapon 2 is the revolver. So that's going to be a messy one. Fortunately, the kitchen has tiles too.
Exactly. Yes, good thing.
But who did it? You chose suspect 4. And suspect 4 was Miss Scarlet.
The Scarlet Woman.
Yeah. So are you still sticking with your choices? Does that sound good to you?
It sounds wonderful, yes.
Well, the solution to the game has been here all along. So let's see what was actually the case. The crime was actually committed by Miss Scarlet with the revolver in the kitchen. 3 out of 3, Jill, with pure intuition. Well done.
I should have been a
True
detective.
crime fighter. Thank you, Jill, and thank you, Kevin. Back to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I hear there's a new series of FBI being launched starring Jill. So we're looking out for that on what's that on? Probably on one of the Sky channels. Anyway, moving on from the Isle of Man over that big piece of water again and across to Canada to our very good friend, the fantastic performer, Dr. Michael Likey. Come in.
Thank you so much for inviting me tonight to one of my favorite venues, the Open Mic Magic Show. I'm excited because I get to share another original effect with you. You may be familiar with magician Paul Curry from a long time ago, who offered, wasn't a reward, but he offered a challenge, if you will, for the open prediction. The open prediction we're going to demonstrate in a few seconds was sort of an impossible effect, and most magicians failed at it. I've offered 2 solutions. I will present one of them tonight, maybe another one down the road, if you will. But I will require the help of someone from our audience. And why not Jojo and Mark? If we can just perhaps bring them up, that would be great. Jojo and Mark, if they're still there.
Jojo is here. Mark just went upstairs for a second. He's coming right back.
Oh, sure. Well, it's
Just
not.
start with me.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for that. This is an effect that does offer a solution to Paul Curry's open prediction. It was published in the Linking Ring August 2020 edition. And I'm excited to present this tonight with your help, Jojo. So I'm just going to switch over. There we go. We are going to use a deck of playing cards. It may or may not be full. It doesn't really matter if it is. Mark is here. Mark, how you doing? You can scooch in close to scooch in close so we can see you guys.
God, man, you're gonna make me move over. Jesus, put the air on over here.
I love it. I love it. What we're going to do is use a deck of cards. A lot of people say I don't play with a full deck. I don't know if that's true or not, but
I don't.
why not get Mark? I'm going to randomly deal cards face up, and wherever you want, you can just say stop, and the face down card will be the one that will be the selected card. So we'll deal through, as I say, right there. Do you want me to deal one more, or are you happy with that?
I'm happy with that.
Okay, so we're going to place this card right over here. And I want to emphasize that you could have said stop anywhere. You had a perfectly free choice. You really, really did. And the name of this effect is called clipped. And there's a reason for that, which is now apparent. Oh, there we are. The use of a paper clip. Now, you could have said stop anywhere, and I love the fact that it was a perfectly free choice. Let's see if this did indeed work. It has the 5 of hearts. And thank you so much, Mark and Jojo, for your assistance. I really, really appreciated that. Thank you.
That was fun.
Thank you. Be well. Take care.
Terrific. Thank you, Michael. Always comes up with something original and fantastic. So really enjoyed that. So staying that side of the pond, but going back down further south, sort of in a southeast direction for a lot of miles. I don't even know how far. That's such a huge country, the USA. But we eventually end up with the elusive Leon Cowan. Hello, mate. Come in.
Hello, everybody. Yes, this is Leon from Texas, and we're just a stone's throw away from Canada. What the heck? Hey, Kevin, I would like a volunteer to come on screen with me. Somebody that wasn't on last night's show would be good. How about Bernard? Would he be willing?
Yeah, he's put his thumb up, so we will be finding him. There we go.
Hello, Bernard. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Yeah.
Hey, Bernard, I've got a question for you. In the big picture of things, how influential do you think you are in our world?
Probably between, by percent, I would say maybe probably less than 10% in the whole world. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, I think you're not giving yourself enough credit. I think you're more influential than you think, and I'm going to try to demonstrate that. Okay. So let's take a look down here on the table. So we're going to deal with this here in a little bit, but right now let's focus right here, and let's just imagine that your entire world is represented by this one single box of cards. Okay. Your entire world. And if we opened up this box, right, what would we find?
52 cards. Yeah.
Yeah, we'd find a stack of cards, and all of these cards represent people in your world. Okay, that's what we'll do. And all of these people, right, are different. I mean, they're individuals. They're unique, right? You meet them throughout your life. You have some that you're closer to, some that you're not, but they're unique individuals. And you happen to be one of these individuals. So let's find a card that's going to represent you. I would just pick one, but I don't want to do it that way. What we'll do is we'll just go through the cards, and when you say stop, we'll go with this next card. Okay.
Okay.
So you just tell me stop whenever. Right here.
Stop. Yep. Yeah.
This one here. You're sure?
Sure.
Okay. This card is going to represent you, Bernard. You could have gone farther if you'd liked, and it would have been different cards. So let's see which card you selected to represent you. The 3 of diamonds. You know what? I really don't know you, but just observing during the show, I think this is probably a pretty good card because you seem to be somebody that's kind of bright and cheery and like to have a good time and joke around. Is that right?
That's correct.
And also the diamonds, the distinct shape, it also seems to represent that you also like some order in your life. I mean, you like things in order. You're kind of particular about some things. And also the diamonds, I would say the value, I'd say that you've got values in your life. You have pretty high standards for yourself and expectations for yourself and others. Is that pretty good?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. Well,
Right on.
we have a great card for you. So we're going to put that right here. Now, this represents my world. Now, don't laugh. I mean, yes, it's black and it's not as impressive as your world, but hey, it is what it is. Now, this really doesn't represent my entire world. It's just a portion of my world. In fact, these cards will represent me and just a few of my really close friends, some guys that I've known for decades. And, you know, after being around each other, we rub off on each other. We have influence on each other. And I'm using some chameleons here to represent me and my friends because, as you and I know, chameleons are affected or they're influenced by the surroundings, right? So I would like to introduce you to my gang. Now, obviously, I'm the best looking one in the group. That's me right there. And that's George, there's Johnny, and there's Dan. Now, not only do we have similar interests, etc., but we tend to dress alike. We dress casual, usually in blue jeans, right? And then a pullover shirt, sort of like the one that I'm wearing right now. Now, if I were to exit the group, if we were to take me out of the group and we were to introduce you into this same group, I think you'd be surprised at how much influence you would have. In fact, let's kind of try to get you here about the center. Yeah, there we go. In a short time, I think you might find that people in the group would possibly start to think a little bit like you, maybe talk a little bit like you, act a little bit like you, and who knows, maybe even begin to look like you. And you might get them to upgrade their clothing or their fashion and get them to dress a little bit like you as well. But if we took you back out of the group, Bernard, I went back into the group, I think probably in like a nanosecond. Did I just say nanosecond? In a nanosecond, our group would go back to just like they were. You know, basically the regular lounge lizards that we are. And probably our dressing habits would go back to what we're accustomed to whenever I was there within the group. But the same thing is true with your world. You know, if I were to be introduced into your world, I believe that I would have impact on all of these various individuals. Some to more degree than others. I will admit that. For instance, well, wait. Now there's some individuals, you know, they're kind of wild cards. They're pretty independent. We're probably not going to impact them very much. So I'm going to get rid of that guy there. But most of these individuals, I would have some influence on to different degrees. Oh, here we have another. There's usually a couple of jokers in the crowd, right? We'll get rid of those. But I could have some influence. So let's take a look here if we introduced me into your group. If I just started rubbing elbows, let's say, with some of the people in your group, like so, I think in a short period of time, I would have some influence. In fact, not just on single individual, but multiple individuals, perhaps many individuals. Now, it'd be just superficial. I agree. They would still be individual, right? Individual people, but obviously I would have had some influence. You agree? And if at some point I really spent a lot of time with these folks and really embedded myself in the group, and really got engaged with them. You know, I'm not talking about just a little bit, but I'm talking about really mix it up with your folks, spending time with them, you know, getting to know them, being parts of their lives. I think that I could begin to have a little bit of effect. In fact, have a little fun with them, maybe cut up with them a little bit. Did I say cut up? Anyways, at some point, I think I would probably rub off on your individuals that we've talked about here, people in your world. In fact, a lot more than you might think. You know, we each think that we don't have a lot of influence, but you know, if we will just take the time and the effort, the energy, the interest is really the thing with other people. I believe we can have an influence on them, and the opposite is true. They can have influence on us. So, but the same as I told you before, my influence is only going to be as strong as I make it. So if I were to exit the group, right, and you were to reintroduce yourself to the group, like so, I believe in a short time, you would also impact the group. And if you were to embed yourself into that group in a short time, I believe that my influence and your influence could make a big difference in their lives. And as I'm looking here, I see you would be embedded, there you are, making a difference in people's lives, just like that. So, Bernard, even though that we both have differences and we're unique, I think we have one thing in common, and that is that you and I both can have an influence in people's lives, in our world. So we ought to go out and do that. Thanks for your help, Bernard.
Well done. Thank you.
Wow. I love that effect. Fantastic. Thank you, Leon. Fantastic. Right. Okay. Staying in the USA, but let me do my usual bit of geography here. So if I'm looking at you, Leon, then I'll probably go right a little bit and down a little bit, and we'll find our next performer in Florida, Lee Germain. Come in, Lee.
Thank you, Kevin. Unfortunately, I'm only in Florida in the winter. During the summer months, I'm in Pennsylvania. But hey,
you're back up north.
Yes. Kevin, I need somebody to give me a hand too, if you would be so kind. Doesn't matter who it is. Some of it perhaps hasn't been used before today.
There we go.
Oh, yes. Very, very. Oh, good. Alan, I hope you're feeling better. If you're not feeling better, I hope you're getting better rapidly.
Thank you, my friend.
Yes. What we're going to do, Alan, is I have some photographs here. Let me switch cameras. There we go. I have some photographs here of some women and men. Now, they both have things in common. The women have in common the fact that there's 5 of them and that they were all murdered in London, England, between the years 1911 and 1915. The gentlemen all have the same thing in common, except that they weren't murdered, but they were thought to be involved in the murders. I got to keep my head back and my head keeps blocking the camera. Now, the murders were solved of 4 of the 5 women. 1 remains to this day to be unidentified. And the way the murders were solved was by a psychic. Scotland Yard actually hired the assistance of a psychic to determine if these men were involved in the murder of these women, and if so, which one. Now, the psychic used a very unusual way of determining whether these men were involved. For instance, one of the women's name was Mary, and the psychic would take her cards and she would say M, A, and she'd pick up the other patch and say R, Y. and those two would end up being a match. Now, we're going to do that same thing, Alan, but you can't be here to do them, so I'm going to move them for you. So we're going to spell the first name, which is Mary, and which pile should I use, and whether I should put it on the top or yeah, so the top, move from the top to the bottom. Which pile, the men or the women?
Men.
The men, okay. And we're going to go with M. Now, how about the A? Where are we going with that? Men or women?
Men.
Men, okay. M, A.
And
for
the men
R,
again.
R, and the Y.
Y is the women.
Okay. Y. Okay, that left us with these two. Interesting fact, you will put those two right here where you can still see them. Now let's try that again. Next lady's name was Beverly. Should I start with the men or the women?
The women.
Okay, that's a B. How about the E?
Women.
And V?
Women.
And E?
Women.
R?
Men.
L?
Men.
And Y?
Women.
Okay. And that leaves us with these two. We'll place these two, we'll put them right there like that, just so that we can see they're there. Okay. Now we're going to start with Betty was the next woman's name. So we have a B.
Start with the men.
Okay.
Start with the men.
That's B.
Men.
E,
Men.
T.
Men.
T.
Women.
Okay. Y. Okay,
Women.
that leaves with those two.
Yep.
And that puts those there.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have Grace. So we need a man or a woman for Grace.
Start with the women.
Okay. That's G.
Women.
Men.
Women. Women. Do the women.
Oh, women.
Yeah.
G R
Now switch to the men.
A
Stay with the men.
C
Stay with the men.
E. And
That's
that
it.
brings us to these two. Okay. And that makes those a match. So we have here the 5 groupings of suspects and the women that possibly were involved. Now, I suspected you might have the same abilities that the psychic in England had over 100 years ago. So we're going to see how well you did, because this first lady here, this is Mary. She was murdered in Cornwall. There we go. Murdered in Cornwall. Turn it around so you can see it. And this is Harry Thompson, and he was executed for the murder of 1915 of Mary Collins. So that one was correct. Now, here we have Betty. Betty was murdered in Manchester in 1913, and you chose the murderer as David, I believe it's Hilla, and he was executed for the 19 murder of Betty Ryder.
Oh,
So there's 2 we got. And now this one was, this was the unidentified woman murdered in Brighton in 1911, unsolved. And this is Percy Rush. Percy was a suspect of that murder, but he was never found guilty of the unidentified woman. I'm sorry that we have no name for her. Yes. So that's 3 you got right. We have 2 to go. And that leaves us with Beverly, who was murdered in London in 1914. And this is Walter Brooker, executed for the 1914 murder of Beverly Fletcher. So you're batting 1,000. So these have to be right. And sure enough, this is Grace. She was murdered in Birmingham in 1912. And this was Frank Reeves. He was executed for the 1912 murder of Beverly. Alan, thank you very much. I'm glad I was right about you being the one to be able to do this. Kevin, back to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Lee. Something quite different for you for a change. I really enjoyed that. Thank you. Okay, so using my little roadmap, from Pennsylvania, we're going to head east. And before we hit the Atlantic, we get to New York. And our next performer, come in, my good friend, Tommy Burnett. Hello, Tommy.
Hey, Kevin. Hey, guys. It's probably more northeast. But
I would tell you who you're channeling there, but I'm not going to mention it.
however, can I get a volunteer from your lovely audience today? And put them either to my right or to my left. Hello, Robina. Yay. How are you, my dear?
Hi, I'm doing just fine. So glad to see you.
Glad to see you too. I love your act today. It was beautiful. As always, as always. So I'm going to show you some beautiful pieces of artwork that were done probably in the late 1800s of different plants.
I think I remember. I've seen that one before.
Yeah, I wish the lighting in here is not that great, but hopefully you can see these. They're all different, by the way. And if you were here with me right now, I could give this to you and you give this a mix. But I'll mix them for us, and we can do like a little wash here. And I'm going to take some out and put them into a pile, and then I'm going to have you do the same. Let's see, I'll take this one and this one, this one, this one. Let's try this one. Two more. I guess I can take this one and this one. All right, so we'll put the rest of them in the, actually I'll take that one too. We'll put the rest of them in a row, or a couple of rows, and hopefully you can see them all. I know my picture's kind of in the way up in the upper left-hand corner. But if I move my finger around, you just say stop. That'll probably be the easiest way.
Stop.
And then right here.
Sure.
You want to go back one?
No, that'll be fine.
Okay, I'll put that one on the top, and we'll just keep doing that until all the colors are mixed in your preferred way. So again, we'll just go.
Stop.
You over here. Yeah, okay. And then now we're going to switch.
Stop.
Here or here?
One to the right. That one.
This one, okay. And I'll go a little bit slow. Here.
One to the right.
One to the right, okay. I'm trying to go a little bit slow so I can catch up with the leg. Oh, here. Okay. And we got 3 left, so.
Stop.
Okay. And
stop.
This one, okay, and we'll put that one on top of that. Okay. So now we have like that. Okay. And now I have to admit some of these are non-poisonous plants and some of them are poisonous. And alchemists of the time studied for years to be able to identify poisonous plants from non-poisonous. So I know you don't have a whole lot of experience doing this, but it is now going to be your job to separate all the non-poisonous plants from the poisonous plants. I know there's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure, but it's gonna be okay. I'm here to help you. So let's say on my left, underneath my picture, will be non-poisonous plants, and on my right will be all the poisonous plants. Okay? So we can let this go on my left or on my right?
You're right.
On my right. Okay? And oh, I'll look up so you can see it.
That goes on the left.
Okay?
The left.
Okay?
The right. The right.
Okay?
The left.
Okay?
The right.
Okay?
The left.
Mm-hmm.
The left.
Okay?
The right.
Okay?
The right.
Okay?
The left.
Yeah?
The left.
Okay?
The right.
Okay?
The right.
Okay?
The left.
Uh-huh.
The left.
Uh-huh.
The right.
Okay?
The right.
All right. Oh. Positives and negatives were non-poisonous poisons. Let me ask you a question. What made you say that, for example, this one here was non-poisonous?
Intuition.
Okay. Okay. And what made you think that, I don't know, this one here, for example, what made you think that that one was poisonous?
I don't know. It just looked like that. That's what
It does sort of have an ominous looking feeling to it. And it's weird because this one is poisonous. This happens to be phosphorus. And this one over here happens to be one of the non-poisonous ones. In fact, you got all of them correct. Pretty amazing. Not having had any experience doing it, you must have an alchemist's blood flowing through your brain, through your brain, through your brain. Wow. Yeah, absolutely. Very well done. Thank you for your help. And back to the lovely Lord Kevin Pugh.
Never been called that before. Anyway, thank you, Tommy. Wow, that's great. Thank you, Tommy. I love that one. Yes, so just down to me to finish the show. And anybody who's out there who's in the magic world knows that I frequent certain types of shops. No, not the ones you're thinking of. They are charity shops and flea markets, because I'm always on the lookout for bits and pieces that I might be able to weave into some sort of performance to see if I can. So about a couple of months ago, I was in a charity shop and I discovered this is, I will do things the other way around. It's called the Hieroglyph game, and it was originally from the Ashmolean Museum in London. If you go on their website, you will actually be able to buy the current version of that. And I'll just show you what's inside it. Quite interesting. There's some dice and some little counters and some other bits in there. There is a little chart that tells you all about hieroglyphs and how they work. And you can play a game with these to learn about hieroglyphs. So there's like a little game board, and these assorted words made up of hieroglyphs. So they combine the hieroglyphs to create a word. So, for example, those glyphs there. No one there we go. Those glyphs there. They're to delay. That's how they would have written to delay, or that one to take pleasure. And on the back of this was all the information about the basic glyphs and what they meant, and you learned with the game. You learn how to combine them. So I thought that sounds really interesting. I will try and do something with that. So I made some cards up with some of the hieroglyphs on into the created words. So we've got this one here. That's time. That's that one there is incense. That one there to summon. That one there to relieve. That one there to take pleasure. That one there to turn. I'm just going to mix those up so we don't know where they are or what order they're in. And you'll see why in a minute. And we'll just have a look what we've got in this little bag. There's some dice, a little other die with his colored. So we'll use those because they're a little easier to see. And there are also some counters and a tiny little scarab, which people may know that the scarab is quite common in ancient Egypt, and it is in fact the dung beetle, but it's much nicer to call it a scarab. So there's a little scarab. That reminded me, when I saw that in the box, that reminded me of a lovely little artifact that I've had for ages, which is a box with a scarab on it. I'll just show you. And on the scarab, it's actually got another hieroglyph. Okay, and inside the box was some bits, and I never knew what to do with these. There's a little pyramid, which obviously points to Egypt as well. There was a piece of cloth, and there was this bit of paper, which was just sitting there with nothing on it. And so I thought if we just leave it in the box, yeah, like that, and then continue with the game. By the way, so this is the little scarab, and we will put in over there to see if it helps. So I need a helper now. So Jill, do you want to help with this? Because Jill always manages to work things out for me. So how are you on ancient Egypt, Jill?
Oh, I don't know about that, but I did know that the scarab was a dung beetle.
I'll just also show you, I've got a little die shaker there, and let's say we've got these die now. But before that, we're going to use these little cards here and number them. But I'm going to mix them up, and you just tell me when to stop mixing, Jill.
Stop.
Hang on, I'll just mix them a bit more, but that one came face up, and I actually glimpsed it for a second.
Stop.
Okay, so they are nicely, let's just put them together in a nice little pile. They are nicely mixed, and I'm just going to drop them onto the table. Like that. And I want you to number them so that we don't know which one has what number against it. So Jill, you tell me which one you want as number one.
The middle one nearest the pen. That one.
That one there?
Yes.
That's going to be number one?
It is.
Yeah.
The one
number
nearer
two
me is number 2.
Which one?
The one nearer me. The one above it.
That one there
Yes.
is 2.
The
Okay.
opposite one is number 3.
Sorry, that had a muck on. Which one is 3?
The one opposite the 2.
The one opposite the 2 is 3.
No. Oh,
Oh, we can change it.
yeah. I wanted the bottom corner.
Okay, hang on a sec.
Diagonally opposite. Sorry.
This is wipeable. So which one did you want as 3?
The diagonal from the 2.
This one here.
Yes.
Okay.
The
Okay,
one
keep
that you
on.
labelled, the one you labelled as 3 and rubbed out, I'll have as 4.
The one we labelled as 3, this one over here.
That's it. 4.
That's number 4, yeah.
The bottom one next to 3, 5.
Yeah.
And the one left is 6.
That one there is 6. Okay, so the game now is to eliminate these, and how we'll do it, we'll put the die in the die cup, give it a good shake, and whatever numbers come up, we get rid of.
Okay.
So we got 1, so we get rid of number 1, which is that one there, to relieve.
That's a relief.
Thank you, Jill. 4 to turn, and 6 which is time. So we've got, it's a relief that we've got time to turn. I don't know. So we've got three left there, Jill. I shall turn them this way so you can see the numbers. Okay, so we got 4, 2, and 1. So we've got the only one that we can get rid of at the moment is 2. Oh, to take pleasure.
Oh, I'm sorry we've got rid of that one.
Yeah, sorry about that, Jill. So we need to get rid of either 5 or 3. There we go. Number 5.
Okay.
Is incense.
Oh.
So we are left with this one, number 3, which is to summon.
Oh. Who are we going to
Right, so, well, let's just have a look, because this little box, which I always wondered about and why it had the pyramid in and a bit of paper. So let's just open it up and drop out the bit of paper. And, oh look, it's now got something written on it, which is, I believe, to summon.
Ooh, spooky.
So we managed to summon up something out of nothing. Thank you, Jill.
Thank you.
And that's about all we've got time for tonight. So just go and say a big thank you to Alan Fisher, Robina, Roy Stone, Michael Kelly, Dr. Michael Likey, the Illusive Leon Cowan, Lee Germain, Tommy Burnett, and myself. So all of us here at the Open Mic Magic Show, to all of you out there in Facebook land, in Twitch land, and in our wonderful gallery, good night, thank you, and we will say goodbye to Facebook now.